Frankly, my dear, I don't give a damn.
I'm gonna make him an offer he can't refuse.
As far back as I can remember, I always wanted to be a gangster.
Don't you understand, George? It's because you were not born.
Film church.
Well, a boy's best friend is his mother.
Well, I appreciate there's things about me that you find unacceptable. There's things about you I find unacceptable. There's things about this conversation I find unacceptable. We're gonna have to meet somewhere.
Hello. And welcome to Film Church Radio, the podcast that treats cinema as a religion. It's Sunday. I'm Branden.
I'm Lewis.
And we're here to talk about movies. Each week, Lewis and I alternate picking a film for both of us to watch and discuss. But it is January 1st.
Happy New Year.
2023. Happy New Year. Crazy. Normally we each pick a film for both of us to watch and discuss, but since it is January 1st, we're going to do our favorite watches of 2022. So this includes everything that we've watched that is new to us. So it could be from the year 2022, it could be from the year 1922. We'll find out. But the stipulation is that the year 2022 was the first time we saw this film. So our top 5 favorite picks, which was extremely difficult to choose this year. We did the same thing last year when we first started the podcast. And I just listened to that episode yesterday just to kind of refresh my memory of what we picked and how we formatted the episode. And I had 14 that I had to whittle down to 5 last year. This year it was 40.
Wow.
So basically what I did was go through my Letterboxd account and just go through the entire year and marking films that could potentially be in my top 5. Ended up with 40, and then I had to whittle that down, which was difficult. How was the process for you?
Yeah, I mean, I've been thinking about it for a little while. And I think that because last year we enjoyed doing it so much that I think throughout the year I've been like semi-conscious of it. Uh-huh. So I've kind of been preparing all year. So there was 2 or 3 that I knew were going to make the list.
Yeah.
But like the last 2 spots was very hard to do. And my number 5 literally changed today.
Yeah.
Before we sat down. So it's been,
Yeah, I had a really
everywhere.
hard time with this, especially the top 5, but like I basically had a top 10 that I could not figure out what to take out. So I can't wait to hear what yours are. But I also had some documentaries that I basically took all of them out like I did last year because I was like, that was an easy way to eliminate some films, was be like, don't include docs. But man, there are 5 documentaries that I saw this year that I absolutely loved that we'll talk about after we talk about our top 5 and some of our other picks too, I'm sure.
Yeah.
We're also going to talk about our favorite episode of Film Church Radio from last year.
Yeah.
And can't wait to get into this.
I know.
Are we going to do like we did last year and then one of us do all of them and the other do all of them, or should we each do a countdown? Like I do 5, you do 5.
Let's do that.
And then I do 4, you do 4.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Let's do it that way.
Who's first?
As you're hosting, do you want me to go first?
Sure. Yes.
Cool. Okay. So my number 5, jumping straight in, and this is what has changed recently, is a film. I've tried to stay away from films that we talked about on the show, just because I'm like, we've talked about them on the show. I don't want to kind of just reiterate the same points.
Yeah.
But with this one, I don't feel like like I could. I think that this was, definitely one of my favorite films that I watched this year. And it's Souvenir Part 2.
Nice.
It's a film that I had like the highest expectations for.
Yeah.
And it just surpassed them in every way.
Yeah.
It's just a great development and progression from the first.
Yeah.
Tonally and thematically a different film. It sits alongside it really well, but it feels fresh and different.
Yeah.
And takes huge steps in like new, interesting directions that I didn't think it was going to go in. Joanna Hogg is just an incredibly interesting director.
Yeah.
And I love both of these films. And it was a toss-up between what I chose for my favorite conversation that we've had on the podcast and this one. But I like to think of The Souvenir and The Souvenir Part 2 as like two shows, like one show together.
Yeah.
And I didn't want to split them up.
Yeah.
So this is why this is my number 5. Souvenir
Nice.
Part 2.
Perfect. Yeah. I mean, I like it was one that kind of went in and out of my list as well. Such a good film. Yeah. Incredible. My number 5 is A Simple Plan from 1998, directed by Sam Raimi. So what I did again this year, to kind of whittle down what films I was going to choose. Once I got that list of 40 films, I basically started going through and watching the trailers for each film because I did not obviously have time to rewatch all 40 films.
Taking it super seriously.
Yeah, and just to kind of refresh my memory of what the film was about and also my experience, how I felt watching the film. And it's just such a well-crafted movie. I mean, it kind of hits all the points that you want it to hit. It's engaging. It's creative. Bill Paxton gives an amazing performance. Billy Bob Thornton, Bridget Fonda, and just such I don't know. Like when you talk about Sam Raimi, people always talk about Evil Dead and Spider-Man.
Yeah.
But he's also just an incredible filmmaker.
Yeah.
And he kind of proves it with this movie. I love it.
That's awesome. Yeah. A good pick.
Yeah.
Going into number 4 then.
Coming in at number 4.
I feel like quite a lot of my picks kind of revolve around areas, or eras, I should say, not them together, that like I've been really interested in this year, and like I feel like I've honed in on, because I know on the last show we asked each other, have you got any like film resolutions, and mine was to jump into either a director or an era and like really familiarize myself with it, and I feel like I've done that in a few areas. So my number 4 that I picked is from New Hollywood, from the 70s. It's from 1971. It's The Last Picture Show.
Oh, nice.
Directed by Peter Bogdanovich. And honestly, I watched 2 Bogdanovich films that I really liked this year, and it was a toss-up between this one or What's Up, Dog. Really like What's Up, Dog. I was very surprised with it, but this one kind of edged it, because I think that as a kind of an example of New Hollywood and like the things that have attracted me to that this year, I think this film's got all of it. And also Bogdanovich passed away this year, so it felt like I kind of had to watch a lot of his films, films that I'd missed. It's just such a great story of like small town people wanting to grow, and the circumstances like you were born into, wanting to kind of outgrow, where you are at that point in time, which I feel like I've been through a few times in my life and not really realized or like taken advantage of where I am. And it spoke to me, and then just not realizing that this part of your life is the part that you're going to look back on as like the golden period.
Yeah.
For
sure.
And it's kind of tinged with that. And then Sybil Shepherd's incredible. Jeff Bridges is in it as a very young, like like a teenager, which is
Yeah.
always great to see.
That's cool.
And it's one of those films that I can just remember, like the situation in which I watched it. It was like late at night, and I put it on. I was just like transfixed.
Yeah.
And it's definitely one of my favorite films of the year.
That's awesome. Yeah, I mean, I
Yeah.
feel like that's a movie that you'll hear about all the time.
Yeah,
You know, as a cinephile, as a
Mhm.
film, as a studier of film. I've never seen it, but I can imagine that I would love it.
yeah, I'm sure you
Just
would.
because I
Yeah.
mean everybody talks about it. You know?
Yeah.
So.
And Bogdanovich is so like steeped in the history of cinema
Mm-hmm.
that it's hard not to kind of be rooting for him, because you
Yeah.
can, you can see that he just loves what he's doing.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I can't wait to go back. Every film that on here, I'm like, I want to go and watch it right now.
Yeah. When did you watch it? Like, at what point in the year was it?
It was shortly after we had talked about like being there, because I got really into like Hal Ashby, so I watched like Harold and Maude, which could have easily made the list, and then it was kind of around that era, because I was like, all these films from the 70s by these, I watched a lot of early Scorsese as well around the same time, and it was like just before the summer, I think.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Nice. Sweet. My number 4, you're gonna love this one,
Yeah.
is The Apartment.
Morbius. Oh, okay.
No. No, not Morbius, but it did pop up on my Letterboxd list of like lowest rated films of the year.
Yeah.
No, it is The Apartment from 1960.
Perfect.
Directed by Billy Wilder, Jack Lemmon, Shirley MacLaine. Obviously, if you're a fan of the show, you know that we covered this movie in an entire episode, so I won't get into it, but I won't talk about the film too much, I guess. But yeah, just basically looking through the list and being like, that was definitely one of my favorite watches of the year, just because like Jack Lemmon and Shirley MacLaine are incredible in the film. It was so different from anything that I've seen from that time period, in a black and white kind of old movie. Just had it was so much more, it was so ahead of its time, I think. That it just is it just stuck out to me as something really incredible. Yeah.
It is. I mean, it's a film, I think, that it took me a long time to really appreciate, I think because it is a bit dark, you watch Some Like It Hot and it's a lot, like it's a blast. But with this, like as we talked about on the show, there's a lot of darkness in there that is kind of addressed up front. So it is, for a 17-year-old that's just looking to watch Marilyn Monroe on screen, it's a bit of a harsh reality to come to.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's phenomenal. I just love it. I'm glad you picked it.
Yeah. It's great.
Yeah.
So coming in at number 3.
I chose Patha Panchali, which is from 1955, directed by Satyajit Ray, who is an Indian director, part of the Apu trilogy.
Okay.
And the Apu trilogy is something that I bought on Criterion in one of the sales, because I'd heard so many people talk about it, especially Mark Cousins when he did his story of film. There's like an extended bit where he talks about some certain parts of, especially Patha Panchali. So I'd had it on my to watch list for a while, and I bought it, and I think I just watched it over like a weekend. I watched all 3 pretty close together. And this was the one that really like stood out. It's the first one of the trilogy. Okay. And I was just taken completely unaware by like just the story about family and how you develop as a person, like with the surroundings, just beautifully shot and acted, and just a really human story that shows a situation that we would never have experienced otherwise. Part of the beauty of cinema is showing us people, places, things that would never otherwise be able to see.
Yeah.
And I think that this just fit into that mold so well. You know, it's impoverished India. These characters, I have no idea. Again, I know we've spoken about it, but it's like it takes you a while to get into it because there's so much depth that you don't get at first.
Yeah.
Because it's all about cultural stuff and kind of how people are brought up. But it was amazing. And it was to the point where I was like, there was a certain thing that I could see coming that it was going to do, and I was like pleading with the film for it not to do it. Like story wise, not that it was it would make the film bad, but I was just so invested in the characters that I was like, don't do this. Like, I know where it's going. Please don't do it. Yeah. And I don't feel like that very often.
Yeah.
It had just a real emotional pull on me.
Yeah. Where you cared that deeply about
what was happening to these characters.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's just so like unassuming and light touch, and it's great.
That's
loved
awesome.
it. Yeah. Beautiful.
I'm definitely gonna have to watch them.
Yeah.
That sounds amazing.
Yeah, it is.
My number 3. See, I did not do what you did, where I picked films that we didn't talk about on the
But
show.
it was hard though. I mean, there was literally there was so many that I could have picked.
Yeah, we watched a lot of good. We talked about a lot of good films on the show.
Yeah.
And a lot of them, like, it's funny because some of them were very early on in the year, which is what my number 3 is, and it's Wander Darkly.
Fantastic. Yeah.
From, I guess 2020. Because that was the year. What is it labeled on IMDb? Yeah, 2020. That was the year it was showing at Sundance. Just when I went back and watched the trailer, it was like so emotional.
Yeah. Yeah.
And just remembering what a good film it is, and how it made me feel while watching it, and the performances are amazing. Sienna Miller, Diego Luna are both incredible in the film. Directed by Tara Mealy, and just so incredibly good.
Yeah,
I had to include it and recommend it to people
great.
again. It's amazing. It should still be on Hulu.
Yeah,
if people want to check it out. But
and the photo I sent to you of me in floods of tears after I'd watched it.
Yeah, man. It's so good. I gotta watch it again very soon.
I just know it's gonna that. I do want to watch it again soon. It's like the emotional battering that I'm going to be in for. Do you know what I mean? Like I just know it's going to set me off again. It's not one that I'm going to watch and feel like, the emotional weight's gone now.
Yeah.
It's still going to be there. So yeah,
it's incredible.
It's very good.
That's going to be the whole show. This episode for everybody is just me saying the movie and being like, it was really good. But I mean, there is a whole episode where we dive into it, so you can go listen to that.
Yeah, you sure can.
Coming in at number 2.
Number 2, yeah. I have to thank Mitch for picking Thief as part of our. Thief isn't my pick. Thief is nearly made it.
Okay.
I
thought it was gonna be Thief.
Yeah. Because he picked Thief, and then it started me on this. I've written in my notes to fill in the man gaps, but I don't think that's exactly what I meant. To fill in the gaps in my Michael Mann filmography. So my number 2.
The gaps.
My number 2 is Heat from 1995.
Nice.
Just watching Pacino and De Niro at the height of their career, just sparring off against each other and just putting in wonderful performances is, good enough.
Yeah.
But the film is so good, and the script is so tight, and like the action pieces are so well choreographed, and it's just like tense, and like it's just perfect, And it was one of those times where it was like I'd put Amelia to bed, and Chelsea was working late, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna probably watch the first like hour and a half of Heat, and then finish it tomorrow. And then before I knew it, it was like 1:15 in the morning, and I was like, I've just watched all of Heat.
That's what happens.
Yeah, I can't believe it's taken me this long to watch it. It's just a blast. Every single minute is so good, and I loved it.
Yeah.
So yeah,
That's perfect.
Is my number 2.
See,
Thief would have made it 2.
Yeah,
I think if it was a top 10.
Yeah. After I've seen Heat before, but I haven't watched it in a while. And after we watched Thief, I was like, okay, I really need to rewatch Heat.
Yeah.
But I haven't done it yet, but I need to very, very soon. Because I feel like, when I originally saw Heat for the first time, I was just so it just seems so distant now. Like it just seems so early in my cinema loving journey that like I feel like I would be viewing it with very different eyes now. Yeah. So I really want to go rewatch it.
And I think it just like it doubled in enjoyment because I'd watched Thief like a few days before.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And it was just such a good like continuation of that. And yeah. Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah. Bro.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Cool.
Your number 2?
My number 2 is Swan Song from 2021. Now, this is not the other movie titled Swan Song from 2021, starring Mahershala Ali on Apple TV Plus. It is not that one.
Okay.
There are 2 films from 2021 titled Swan Song. Okay. This one is directed by Todd Stevens, and it stars Udo Kier.
Okay.
And just to give you the Letterboxd summary, an aging hairdresser escapes his nursing home to embark on an odyssey across his small town to style a dead woman's hair for her funeral, rediscovering his spark along the way.
Wow.
Yeah, this was a film that I watched early in 2022.
Yeah.
I think it's on Hulu. And it's constantly kind of been in my mind since I've seen it. But just rewatching the trailer and kind of thinking about the experience of watching it again, I just had to include it.
That's awesome.
It is it's like a very low budget film. But it's like this, it's kind of like a deep character study on this aging man that's in a nursing home. And he's gay, so it's like this it's like it's about the LGBTQ community on top of being about like being old and feeling like your life has already passed you by and all the regrets you have are just going to continue to be regrets, and there's nothing ahead of you.
Yeah.
But then kind of breaking down those kind of thoughts and going onward and like having an adventure anyway.
Wow.
Yeah, it's a beautiful film. Like despite the low budgetness and everything, like the themes and the thoughts come through. And yeah, it's an incredibly beautiful film.
Yeah.
And I don't know much about the actor Udo Kier. Like, he gives a really beautiful performance. But when I looked him up, I realized, oh, he's in Puppet Master, The Littlest Reich, which is the one feature film that I have my name in the credits
Yes.
on. So I was like, yeah, cool. And who knows? I might have actually bumped into him. I don't really know. I mean, this was like this has been like 5 or 6 years ago, and
Yeah.
I didn't know anybody's name except a couple people on the set. So, and I was there for one day, so it was like,
Yeah.
you know, I don't really remember, but
Yeah.
he is in the film, and if
That's awesome.
yeah, so it's like it's kind of cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's my number 2. It is really a beautiful film. Like, I can't wait to go back and rewatch it.
Yeah. Wow, that's awesome. I've added it to my to watch list.
Sweet.
So yeah, I can remember I think it came out later in England, because I can remember the podcast that I listened to that review like new releases talking about it.
Mm-hmm.
And I can remember at the time thinking, this sounds interesting. You know?
Yeah.
Because the title didn't ring a bell, and then as soon as I pulled it up on Letterboxd, I was like, "There, I know. Okay, I know what this is."
Yeah, and there was trailers for it too. At like Alamo Draft House.
Oh
and
yeah.
stuff.
Yeah. I've probably seen the trailer as well. Then.
Yeah.
Sweet.
Yep.
Cool.
All right.
Here we are.
We're
Yeah.
here. At
Top
number
watch
1
of the year. I know. Crazy.
What is it gonna be? Should I guess? I'm not gonna.
No, you're not gonna. I was gonna say if you knew that this was my top watch of the year, I'd be surprised.
I have no idea. I'm pretty sure it's not from 2022.
It's not. I have written down what my favorite film of 2022 was.
Yeah. So we can talk about that.
Yes.
Because my favorite is not from 2022 either. But I do want to know what your favorite of 2022 is.
Yeah.
I'm going to say that your favorite film is from 1964.
Oh, no. 1957.
Okay.
Because
last year, both of our picks were from 1964.
Is your pick from 1964? That would have been...
not this year. But last year, both of ours were.
Is it from 1957 this year?
No.
Oh. We could have kept this trend going.
Yeah. It's from... Well, I won't tell you because you'll guess.
Okay. Okay.
1957.
Yeah.
Directed by Billy Wilder?
It isn't. It's directed by another director that I've like gone full I need to watch everything mode this year.
Is it a Japanese director?
It is.
Well, I know that much.
Yeah. So it's from director Akira Kurosawa.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Duh, like I should have like guessed that at least.
Yeah. I thought that's where we were going. I was like
it's like the one thing I could have guessed.
I've watched a bunch of Kurosawa films this year, but the one that kind of really resonated with me and I think about all the time is Throne of Blood from 1957. It is a retelling of Macbeth, but set in 16th century Japan, which is already like interesting. I know that a few weeks ago when we talked about Pinocchio, I was talking about how I really like stories that transplant stories that we already know to add another layer to it.
Yeah.
And I feel like this is like a perfect example of that.
Yeah.
Especially in the same year that, you know, The Tragedy of Macbeth was nominated for Oscars and stuff. This just really like spoke to me, you know. It's the visuals are just hypnotic. There's some really incredible set pieces within it. And it's just, you know, a master with Shakespeare as a scriptwriter.
Yeah.
And it's got Mifune in it as well, who, you know, I know we both love from The Seven Samurai.
Yeah.
Just, it's so aggressive but vulnerable. It's absolutely incredible. And I just loved every minute of it.
Sweet.
Yeah.
That's one I've definitely got to check out. Man, yeah, we've watched so many good movies this year.
I know, yeah.
That I've done like a couple of dives, but not real. Like Kurosawa is somebody that I wanted to dive into, but I just really didn't have the time.
Yeah.
I haven't been able to yet. Yeah, that's.
And I kind of
than
force
next
myself because I buy them all on Criterion when there's a
Yeah.
sale.
Mhm.
So I have
Yeah.
like the stack next to my TV that I work through before I can put it on the shelf. So I have to
Yeah.
I force myself to kind of to watch it. Not force myself. It's not like a hardship, but
Yeah.
it's kind of they're there. So, but yeah, this is definitely one that's worth seeking out.
Awesome.
Yeah,
Great pick.
thanks. What's your number one?
My number one is going to beautifully bookend our top 5 here.
Yeah.
It's The Souvenir Part 1.
Wow, that's
Yeah, man.
awesome. Yeah,
God, such a good movie.
I
Like,
know.
just,
Yeah,
and I knew you couldn't pick it because I knew you hadn't seen
Mhm.
it for the first time this year. But yeah, just going back and watching the trailer and everything, just, it was a movie that just completely took me off guard
yeah,
and took me on a journey and surpassed all my expectations, but also just completely like changed my mindset while viewing it.
wow, yeah,
And I'm going to get into a spoiler here, so if you haven't seen the film, skip ahead. But now I'm forgetting all the characters' names. But what is oh wait. Yeah. What is it? What's the actor's name? The main actor?
Anna Swinton Byrne.
Well, I know it's Honor Swinton Byrne, but like her love interest.
Oh,
Why are they not
Tom
labeled?
oh my gosh,
Why are these all out of order? Tom Burke.
Tom Byrne. That's it.
Yeah.
I was like
Anthony.
Neil Young.
Yeah, they're like all listed out of order.
I know.
Yeah, Tom Burke, like his character Anthony, like for most of the movie, I was just did not like the guy.
Yeah.
So fed up with the guy, ready for her to break up with him, ready for him to just be out of the picture. I knew there was a part 2, and I was like, if he's in part 2, I don't know.
Yeah.
And by the end of the movie, I was like, no, God,
Yeah.
please let him be
Yeah.
in part 2. No, this is not, no.
Mm-hmm.
Like, just took me in a direction emotionally I did not expect it to be able to pull off.
I know. Yeah.
And then learning about the making of the film and how Honor Swinton Byrne was improvising all of her dialogue. I mean, she had like read Joanna Hawke's journals to kind of get in the mindset of the character.
Yeah.
But to be able to deliver such a performance based on, I mean, it's kind of just like becoming like going a method way, but more, not as like problematic, I guess. It's it's in collaboration with the director instead of going off the page in a direction the director doesn't want you to or whatever.
Yeah.
I just can't believe that they made a film that way and it's so good.
I know.
It's like how did this happen? I do not understand. Yeah, incredible, amazing movie.
Yeah, it is. I'm so glad you picked it as well because I feel like those two shows are really entertaining to listen back to, especially. I mean, we recorded them, so especially for me. But yeah, and to come across two films that and the fact that we've each gravitated towards like a different one of the two is really interesting as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, yeah, it's incredible.
Both
of them are just great. I'm in awe every time I watch them of how good they
man.
are.
So good.
Yeah.
Still need to watch The Eternal Daughter, which came out this year. which is a continuation of all of it.
Yeah.
Can't
It's
wait to
just
watch it.
staring at me in the face every time I go on streaming. I just need to, find the time to press play. So,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, great. That's awesome.
Yeah.
We did it.
Some wonderful films for everybody to check out if you haven't already.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
But I do want to know what your top top release of 2022 was so far, because I know there's still a ton that came out this year that you haven't seen.
Yeah.
But out of everything you've seen, what is your favorite 2022 film?
I don't feel like it's been a bad year. Like I was looking through kind of releases from this year, and there's quite a few that I gave like 5 stars to, and then a few that I didn't, and it could have been one of probably 4 or 5, which normally top film of the year, it's always a bit tricky, but I picked The Fabelmans.
Yeah. It's so good.
It's so good.
Yeah.
And I feel like last year, West Side Story really didn't do it for me.
Mm-hmm.
And
it was good, but it was like, it was like, it just felt like a paint by numbers.
Yeah.
It was like, of course you can make West Side Story incredible. Great. I mean, the first one was good too, but like, you can do it. Like,
why are you doing it? Yeah, exactly.
It just felt very indulgent.
Yeah, it did. And I felt a little bit like, am I not like enjoying Spielberg's output anymore? And then I saw The Fabelmans and I was like, okay, like it's incredible. Like it's just everything I love about Spielberg in a film. Everything I love about movie making included. And I just sat with a big smile on my face for the whole time.
Yeah.
And and it's tough because I think like, Pinocchio was really good. Everything Everywhere All at Once was amazing. But as someone that loves film and the history of cinema and just, The Fabelmans is hard to get out of my head.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. The Fabelmans was in my top 10 of watches this year, but it didn't make it to the top 5. My favorite film of 2022 was Everything Everywhere All at Once.
Nice. Yeah.
Such a great time watching it for the first time, and then I went and I saw it again.
Yeah.
2 more times in the theater, so 3 times total in the theater. Amazing every time. Everybody in the film is amazing, but I mean, because of my nostalgic childhood, I really, really want Ke Huy Quan to get a nomination for like Best Supporting Actor and win.
I know. It would be great, wouldn't it?
Wouldn't that be so amazing? I mean, he is absolutely incredible in the film. Like his performance is amazing.
Yeah. I feel like the conversation needs to start up again around Everything Everywhere All at Once, just to get the Oscar talk, going.
Yeah.
I'm sure that
he got nominated for a Golden Globe, so
I'm sure that A24 have got like a strategy in place of like how to push it at the Oscars. I'm sure that it's coming, but I'm like, as the viewers, we need to be talking about how great it is and not let newer releases Avatar. I haven't seen Avatar yet
me either,
but it's released now for a certain for the awards, so but hey, I don't know, the Oscars, maybe there's some wind changing and it's going to become different, but who knows. But Everything Everywhere All at Once was a close, probably tied for second for me.
Yeah. And again, like there's still so many films that came out and are coming out or that came out in 2022. I still need to see The Whale.
Me too.
I've heard good things about Lamb from A24. Bardo. Bardo, False Chronicle of a Handful of Truths from Inarritu. Alejandro Inarritu, his new film. I really want to see. And I'm sure there's tons more. But
I watched Banshees of Inisherin, and that is phenomenal.
Oh, nice.
So good.
It looks really good.
I'm just looking at my highest rated films on Letterboxd from like 2022, and it's like Everything Everywhere All at Once, Pinocchio, Fabelmans, The Batman, Nope, Banshees of Inisherin, Top Gun Maverick, and I'm like, all
Gun,
of those
are
bloody brilliant,
Yeah.
Ugh, it's been a good year. I think it's been a very good year.
It has. I mean, other films from this year that made on my Letterboxd were Nope, Top Gun, Elvis, Fabelmans,
Elvis,
Stutz, Clerks 3, the documentary Lucy and Desi that Amy Poehler did. And speaking of documentaries, American Movie almost made my top film.
Wow.
I can't stop thinking about it, and I just want to keep watching it and showing it to people. Flea, such an incredible documentary.
Yeah.
Hands on a Hard Body, Val, the documentary about Val Kilmer.
Yeah.
All 5 stars.
Wow.
Okay, so before we get into like other films that almost made the list, like those other 30 films, let's talk about our favorite Film Church Radio episode, because we have done a thing, my dude. We have gone a whole entire year of consistently putting out sermons every Sunday on films. An entire year.
Yeah. It's crazy.
Every Sunday.
Yeah.
And it's been a blast. Like I'm better for it.
I feel the same way. I do want to say at this point that I did go back and listen to some old episodes, and I really miss recording in the same room.
Same. Yeah.
It just made me, like, I don't know what it was. Little peek behind the curtain, Branden and I haven't recorded in the same room for a while.
Yeah, I don't even know. What was the last episode we didn't do remotely? I don't even know.
Yeah, I mean, it's been a long time.
Yeah.
So yeah, listening back to some of those episodes, like, man, it was a lot of fun when we just sat down and talked about films. Yeah. And I know this was technically 2021, but when we sat and talked about Spider-Man No Way Home for like 3 hours.
Yeah. I'm going to go back and listen to that episode soon, because I've started to go back and listen to them one by one.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was a good time.
Mm-hmm.
So what is your favorite?
It was tough. I think there was a lot that, like, I remembered, like, really enjoying recording. But for me, I think it was Seven Samurai. I think it was the episode that we did on Seven Samurai. I think we both, for one, it was you had picked it, which it felt like it was more of a film that I would have picked in terms of just, the era and, like, older film, and we both just came to it and just absolutely loved it.
Mm-hmm.
And you could tell that we felt inspired. It was one of just a film living up to the hype, and us both really just having a blast with it.
Yeah.
And it was one of those that we'd recorded so long ago that I'd kind of forgotten. So listening to the conversation was fun for me.
Yeah. And it makes sense, like, compared to your top film of the year.
Yeah.
It directly led to it.
It was hard to be like, let's try and pick something else, because I was like, it genuinely, I think, is my favorite episode this year.
Yeah.
So, yeah. What about you?
So my favorite is episode 19.
I don't know the episode numbers.
It is Sergio Leone season part 1, The Colossus of Rhodes.
That's awesome. Yeah.
Dude, it's such a great episode. I went back and listened to it the other day, and it's just such a fun discussion. Calhoun. Yeah, Roy Calhoun. Like, it's such a fun listen.
Yeah.
Because, like, for one thing, like it was the beginning of, like, deciding that we're going to go through the entire filmography of Sergio Leone. But then, and we kind of our expectations were real low, because we were, who knows The Colossus of Rhodes is like a Sergio Leone film. It's like, but then, like, actually enjoying it so much and being surprised by it, and both of us really enjoying it, and then just like kind of like talking about the movie and the best parts of it and the funny parts of it, and it's a fun listen.
I think that may be the last one we recorded together.
It might be, yeah.
Because as soon as you said it, I was like, that might be the last one.
Yeah, episode 19.
Wow.
Now we're on 57.
Holy smokes! Yeah, I'm gonna have to go back and listen to it. Yeah.
I'm gonna go back and listen to Seven Samurai. Next one I listen to.
Cool. Yeah, dude.
Cool.
Wow. So which films like were close to making the list?
So do you have a list also of ones that were close to making it?
I have a few. Yeah.
Okay.
Ones that like I flip-flop between.
The ones that were in like basically the top 10, like the ones that were in like 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, in no particular order, were the Darjeeling Limited.
Nice.
Everything Everywhere All at Once. Tape from 2001, which is a Richard Linklater film with Ethan Hawke and Uma Thurman. Filmed on like a Hi8 tape, like home video camera that Richard Linklater basically just rented a hotel room and like hired a couple of A-list actors and was like, let's make a movie in a day. And it is just it's an amazing like one act play. And then Nope and The Fabelmans.
Nice.
So those are top 10, and then let me just run through all of these. I'm not even going to talk about these movies because there's so many. I'm just going to run through them. The United States versus Billie Holiday, Sherlock Jr., Nightmare Alley, Seven Samurai, Souvenir Part 2, Nosferatu, Spencer, For a Few Dollars More, The Northman, The Seventh Seal, Buffalo 66, Apollo 10.5, A Space Age Childhood, Marcel the Shell with Shoes On, A Face in the Crowd, Paris, Texas, Godzilla, Top Gun Maverick, Bottle Rocket, The Black Phone, Brain Dead, Haxan, American Werewolf in London, The Great Dictator, Touch of Evil, and Almost Famous.
Man. That's a good list. I mean, the fact that you had to narrow that, I feel for you.
I was like, God, there's so many good ones. But ultimately, I went with the ones that like really like gut punched me. Yeah. And made me feel something.
Yeah, mine were the ones, like I said, I've been thinking about it a lot. Mine were the ones that really just stayed with me. You know, like when I'm just kind of out and about, I'm like, oh yeah, there's that scene from Panther Charlie that I really like. You know, and like just you take a minute to stop and think about it. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, Touch of Evil was on my top 10. It nearly made it. Guillermo del Toro's Pinocchio.
I thought it was going to be in there. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, Thief, we kind of mentioned Thief already. Terrence Malick's The Thin Red Line.
Okay.
Like, just absolutely incredible. What else have I got? Dazed and Confused. Absolutely love Dazed and Confused. Linklater, again, is a director that I've kind of gone back to a lot this year. Election. Loved Election.
Yes. Yeah,
and we talked about that a lot. I mean, it's just... There's just so many like really, really good films that I watched this year that it's hard to, really kind of narrow it down.
5 is a tiny number for us.
Yeah. I mean, Flea was incredible.
Yeah.
Licorice Pizza, I watched really early this year that kind of nearly made the list.
Yeah.
And even like the 4.5, I had to go back to my 4.5 films because I was like, there's a lot in here that I think I'm still thinking about. Point Break. We talked about that on the podcast.
Yeah. I was wondering if that would make it because I mean a lot of the ones that I just listed off, some of them are 4, some of them are 4.5.
Yeah.
But
yeah. Wow. I mean, yeah. It's been a really good year of films, I feel like.
Yeah.
And then we watch Morbius, so it evens out,
It evens out. Yeah. What was your first film that you watched in 2022? Mine was Don't Look Up.
Don't look up. Oh, okay. Yeah. Mine was, let me pull up my thing. It was a Fritz Lang film from 1936 called Fury with Spencer Tracy. I think I got it for Christmas, and like I can remember it was Amelia's nap time on like New Year's Day, and Chelsea was having a nap, and I was building. Chelsea had bought me the James Bond car in Lego for Christmas, so I was building that while watching the film.
Nice.
So yeah, it was Fury. Fritz Lang.
Who is your most watched actor?
My most watched actor was Takashi Shimura. Because
Nice.
I watched again.
A lot of Kurosawa films,
and he's in everything.
Yeah.
So like,
how many films was it?
9.
Wow, that's a lot.
Yeah, I feel like someone always sneaks into like my top watch stars that I'm like, what?
My top. Go ahead.
Because it's like Takeshi Shimura is followed by Mifune, which is like, okay, sure. And then it's Bruce Campbell, which I'm like, okay, we watch all the Evil Dead films, and then we watch Bubba Hotep, so that's something. And then Maya Rudolph is my number 4.
Yeah, because she's in like Licorice Pizza. She's in Idiocracy.
Yeah, she like did a lot of voice work for like Luca and Mitchell's vs. the Machines. So yeah, it's always weird. It's always very strange. What about you? Top watched star.
I've got 4 that are tied.
Okay.
So it's Kevin Smith.
Yeah. Jason Mewes.
Jason Mewes is so Kevin Smith is 6 films. Jason Mewes is 5.
Oh, okay.
So I'm not sure how that worked out because they're always together. But my top 4 that are tied are Kevin Smith, Tilda Swinton,
nice,
Chris Pratt, and Benedict Cumberbatch. Which I think Chris Pratt and Benedict Cumberbatch are because of Marvel. Mm-hmm. And they're all 6 films. And then 5 films is Michael Madsen, Bruce Campbell, Jason Mewes, Benedict Wong, Justin Long, and Bradley Cooper.
Nice.
It's weird.
Yeah. Because
go ahead.
Yeah, my 5 films are Tom Hanks, Tilda Swinton, Harold Lloyd, and Jeff Goldblum.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Jeff Goldblum.
Yeah, I mean, I think we rewatched all of Jurassic Parks this year, and Deep Cover, that was it. And 1992, like neo-noir with Lawrence Fishburne. That was really good as well. That should have maybe snuck in somewhere. But
is Kurosawa your most watched director?
He isn't.
Is it Sergio Leone?
It isn't.
No?
Yeah, it's not.
Is it Hitchcock?
Yeah.
Okay. every year, every year, the same old shit.
Hitchcock number 1 with 14 films.
There's a reason he's tattooed on your body.
Yeah, I mean, it's true. And I did read like a really thick biography on him this year. So a lot of I watched a lot of films by Hitchcock.
Yeah.
And then it's Kurosawa, and then it's Leone.
Okay.
Yeah.
Mine is Leone.
Yeah.
And then Sam Raimi. And then Kevin Smith.
Cool. That's a good list. Yeah.
Yeah. Let's see. What are your highs and lows?
So my highest average was Harakiri from 1962, a Japanese film about samurai. That was really good as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, the average on that was 4.6.
So okay, what we're doing, ladies and gentlemen, and everybody in between, is we're looking at our stats from Letterboxd.
Yeah.
So they've got this highs and lows section that is highest average, lowest average, most popular, and most obscure. And this is like highest average means the film that you watched that has the highest average rating over all the ratings, right?
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay. My highest average was 7 Samurai with 4.5.
Nice. Yeah, Harakiri is 4.6, so close.
Wow.
Yeah. Lowest average, we both know, what the other person has on here.
Is it Morbius?
Yeah, of course. It's the one of the worst films.
That's
ever.
funny.
Yeah, 1.9.
Because I feel like I've watched a lot of bad movies this year. As many as I've watched good movies, I feel like there's some other bad movies in here.
I feel like
Morbius is.
I think that just proves that it doesn't work for anybody.
Yeah.
You know, like we were talking, like Liquid Sky a couple of weeks ago didn't work for me, but it worked for Zach.
Yeah.
Whereas I'm pretty sure we'd be on the same page with Morbius.
Right. Yeah.
And then most popular, it probably is the same again, I would say.
Is it Batman?
It is, yeah.
The Batman? Wow.
Yeah.
Most popular. Okay, so how did
Batman.
is that just the one that's like been reviewed the most or logged the most or something? Probably.
I guess. Yeah, I would assume it's the one that's been logged the most. I was surprised that it wasn't. I knew that Everything Everywhere All at Once had kind of was doing really well, but hey, I mean, the Batman.
Yeah, I mean it's what people want, and yeah, I don't know what's going on with DC right now. Like, it seems a mess. Like it always seems like a mess, but like James Gunn seemed like a good choice, and then he was like, no more Superman. I'm writing a brand new Superman script. We'll see.
Oh no.
I mean, I don't like. It seems like the choice, like whenever DC makes a choice that people really hate, it ends up being fine, because you think about even just the choice for the Batman to cast Robert Pattinson, people were like, "Ugh, Twilight."
I know, yeah.
But now people love it. It's like, give them a chance. We'll see what happens.
It's been logged 1.4 million times.
Wow.
Yeah.
And average rating of 4.1. That's high praise.
I know.
So, most obscure, that's going to be an interesting one.
Yeah.
What was your most obscure watch?
My most obscure watch was from 1947 called High Tide, a film noir that I think I watched on like a double disc. It was like two films together because they were both like an hour.
Yeah.
And I think this was the second one, like the lesser one.
Yeah.
I remember the premise. I don't remember anything about the story.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I gave it 2.5, so it's fine.
Yeah.
But it's only been logged, let me have a look, 477 times.
Wow.
So, yeah, it ain't Batman.
How do you see how many times it's been logged? You just click on it?
Yeah, if you go to the film underneath where the little green eye is, it says it's been watched by so many people.
Gotcha. I still don't see it. It doesn't matter.
Okay.
I was just curious, because my most obscure film is Red 11, directed by Robert Rodriguez.
Yeah, we talked about it a few weeks ago.
Yeah.
Watched by 579.
Okay.
So, close.
Nice. You're more obscure than I am.
By 100.
100 could mean anything. But in this case, it means people.
Yeah.
Over 9,000. Well,
I'm at that point now where like we've done looking at 2022, and I'm like, what am I going to watch this next year that's going to change my life?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I love that. I love that feeling of just like, who knows what film is waiting out there that I haven't seen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Something good around the corner.
That's right. Let's hope so.
Speaking of which, the show must go on.
Yeah.
And there is a film that we're going to watch next week.
There is?
I believe there is.
I hope so.
With all my heart.
Yeah.
But I don't know what it is. I don't think you know what it is either.
I definitely don't. I was like, I really hope you're not going to be like, but Lewis does, because I'll be like, do I?
No, we have a guest next week.
Awesome.
And they're going to tell us what the film is now.
Can't wait.
I do still need to ask the person if they want to be a guest on the show. So when we cut back, we'll just pretend like we know what's going on.
Yeah.
Hi there. This is CJ Boyce, filmmaker extraordinaire, writer, media consumer, dude that likes to eat. My selection for this week is a film called Frailty. It's actually one of the few films that the late, great Bill Paxton, a.k.a. the man that caused my mom a ton of annoyance because I couldn't stop repeating the whole "game over, man" line. It's one of the few films that he's directed. It stars Matthew McConaughey, Powers Booth, Bill Paxton himself, and it's a wonderful mystery. It keeps you on the edge of your seat the whole time, and I can't wait to jump into it, analyze it. It's one that I've been wanting to talk about for a while. I've noticed it hasn't gotten as much love as it should get, and we're here to change that. So can't wait for everyone to tune in. See you.
And that'll be the next film.
The first film that we watch for the podcast of 2023.
Cannot wait.
No pressure.
Thank you so much, guest. I might re-record this part depending
That's
on what
fine.
happens.
Well, I can remember when I sent it to Andy, when I was like, okay, this is where you're going to have to put it. He was like, wow, you guys sound really enthusiastic. Because we were like, wow, that sounds great.
Can't wait.
Oh, dear.
Let me just figure out what to say at the end of this episode now. What was that?
There's like, on my Road Connect, there's like buttons that you can press that will like
Oh
make noise.
yeah, make noises. It's like
I've always been tempted to just press it like mid-episode. I wanted to know what happened, but now we know. Anyway.
Well, that was a really great episode.
Yes, it was.
I had no idea what to expect.
Me neither. I mean, I know that our kind of film watching varies greatly.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, Souvenir, it's where it's at.
Good
Yeah.
stuff.
It is.
I think that brings us to the end of the show, does it not?
It sure do.
Thank you everybody for a great year. Thank you for everybody who's been listening for the year, and
Yes.
even if you haven't been listening for the year, thank you for any episode that you might have listened to, especially this one.
Yeah,
Because-
we appreciate it. And we're going to
Thank
work
you.
really hard in 2023 to like, try new things and I don't know, push the boat out a little bit, do some
Yeah.
really cool things. So one of which is coming up relatively soon. So keep your eyes peeled and we'll have more information on that within the next week or so, I think.
Yeah, I think we
So,
will.
yeah.
If you want to help us out, please tell people about the show, spread the love of Film Church, and get people to join the congregation. You can find us on all good podcast platforms. We're even on YouTube, where you can view our faces on the special guest episodes. And then we're also on all the social media platforms at Film Church Radio. We post weekly updates of the films we're watching and little clips of the episodes, so you can listen to a little clip to see if you actually want to listen to the episode or not. So check those out. And if you want to follow Lewis and I individually, you can find us on Letterboxd, where we rate and log all of our films. I am at Selman Scope, and Lewis is at Walker Lewis 3007.
That's
Thanks,
right.
everybody. It's been a great year.
It has. Yeah, and let us know. Send us a message wherever you can and let us know what your top film of the 2022 was that you watched.
Yes, I want to
We
know.
want to know. Yeah, for sure.
I really think he's contributing to cinema.
Yeah, he's contributing shit.
Cool. Like a pro.
Thanks, y'all.
Thanks, everyone. Keep saying your Film Church prayers.
Amen.
Amen.
I think he is. I think. Wait, sorry, that's not right either. I really think he is contributing to cinema.
Weller.